Okay, let's have a look at the Numark NS7. This is old by now. It's 10 years old, maybe 11? Oh, about 10 years actually. I think it came out in 2009. It's now January 2019. So this is the Mark 1. They've made the Mark 2 and the Mark 3 since then. I remember these coming out. I didn't ever try them. My buddies bought the number 2 and the number 3, so I did try those, and I have used them a lot actually. And there's something about them. They're okay. They're still very cool, but I can't really get into them as much as I'm getting into this. And I think the reason is because it's so simple. There's no effects on it. You can buy an additional effects board that hooks up on the back. It does have loop. It's got a few other things that I'll show you, but it's really basic. A really basic system. It's much like having a very simple mixer with a pair of 1200s from back in the day. And I used turntables for a long time. I had 1200s for a very long time. Had a big record collection. And when I did go digital about 10 years ago, I never looked back. I never missed anything about records. And it's only having gotten this recently, very recently, that I realized that I did miss some aspect of using records and DJing with them. And this thing, you know, I have a VCI 400 over here lurking under this road case. I'm sure you've seen that in other videos I've made. It's just not the same as this. This makes me play in a different way. A, it only has 2 channels compared to the 4-channel controller that I've been using up until now. And B, it's got the motorized platters, and they spin, and it just feels different. And, you know, I didn't realize how much I missed grabbing the first beat and throwing it in and mixing that way. And it just is such a hands-on way. And you can speed it up a bit or slow it down by manipulating the platter with your finger. There's also pitch bend. There's great pitch faders here. It's such a solid unit. Big buttons on the front here, play, start, cue, and sync. 5 hot cues which are assignable. It's a beautiful thing. Got pitch range for the pitch control. Key lock, which is very nice. Can make it go backwards momentarily or backwards all together like this. It's got the start-stop time adjustments. You can turn the motor off and use it like a CDJ style controller, so that this motor doesn't spin at all, but you can still use it. Strip search, that allows you to go through tracks very quickly. Track, I don't know what that is actually. This is all the looping functions here. Then we go to the center, and this is our browse button. It's an endless encoder with push down, so it works beautifully with Serato that I have, Serato DJ. This was just a bit of an obnoxious light, so I put some tape on it. You can see different things here that I actually don't use other than load A and load B. Then we go down to the master, and it's got a booth out, which is nice. And the master out is an XLR, which makes me feel like this is a professional piece of gear. I really like that. It's got booth out. The booth outs are they must be RCA actually. They're on the back. Okay. Can that be right? Let me look. I just got this thing recently, so yep. So you can do master out with the XLR, or you can do master out RCA and booth out RCA, which is, I don't know why RCA, but whatever, it's fine, maybe for recording. Then we continue down the center of the mixer here, and we have gain, treble, mid, and bass. And these are really nice EQs because this thing doesn't have filter on it, which I kind of miss, but hey, whatever. I like how simple it is, so I can live with that. And it's got cut on each knob. And it actually sounds really nice. You can do a lot with this. It's got the very, very, very super smooth faders. This one's beat up. I got it for very little. I'll tell you the story in a sec, but you can see this is a little bit off kilter here. This one's a little bit off. And you know what? Still works perfectly. Someone's beat the crap out of this, and it still works wonderfully. And it's very much a turntablist setup right here, as you can see. The EQ, you can do line 1, line 2, or you can do master that bounce together for stereo. And it's a mirror image over here. Let's look at the front panel. Got headphone inputs. So there's 1/8 inch input. Sorry, the lighting isn't great. 1/4 inch input and headphone volume right there. I don't know why the camera's going blurry here. Fader start, that's kind of a cool thing. Then we have crossfader reverse, which I don't get into. The motor torque I have on high. I usually set my crossfader like this. You can see it's like a bridge. And yeah, fader stop over there. So this is for the input. So either for the mic input, all these, the gain, bass, and treble. So you can select between mic and line, and there's the auxiliary input. So you could put a phone or something in their iPod, whatever. So if for some reason Serato does crash and this becomes not a controller, it still is a mixer. So you can still, you know, save the day, play some music while you're rebooting. The bottom piece, this is partly of the reason it makes it so heavy. The bottom plate is a nice solid piece of aluminum, and it continues all the way across the bottom. All the way across, and it's just one big protective piece, and it's built so solidly, so ruggedly. It's heavy, it's 35 pounds, but I like that. That's what reminds me of the 1200s. And it just feels so solid. And like I said, the person before me who owned this, they really beat it up, and it's held up remarkably. It still works perfectly. So you can probably hear the fans going on. There's a cooling fan for each platter motor on each side, and they're somewhat loud, but hey, guess what? If you're DJing in a setting where the music's any significant volume, you can't even hear it. And even in a room where nothing's playing or it's playing very quietly, you can tune it out pretty easily. So that's my thoughts on this. I think it's amazing. I don't know what took me so long to get one. Usually I see them on Kijiji for $400, $500, maybe $600, and they usually are mint. They come with the effects board that's attachable on the back, and they also come with a case a lot of times, you know, for $400 or $500. So to have a pair of 1200s again, or a really neat controller like this, I wouldn't call it portable. I don't know how much I'd want to drag it around, but I'm not the kind of DJ anyway. I usually just DJ for myself, or the occasional gig. And I have a much smaller controller for that, much smaller and lighter. But for home use, or you know, a club or something, this is just amazing. So simple, so rugged. So the story of how I got this was, I saw it on Craigslist for $100, and with the case, and that's a Numark carry case with the rollers on it. And I bought it to flip it because I flip a lot of stuff, and I knew that I would kind of like it, but I had no idea that I would fall in love with it. And now what I'm going to do is sell this case for $100 and consider it a free controller, and I don't ever want to part with it unless it's to buy one that's mint and has the effects and maybe a different carry case. This one, however, is just way too big, and they didn't put handles on either of the longer length sides. They only put a handle on each end like this, and it's for one person to carry it around. It's easy to roll like luggage, but for one person it would have been ideal to have a handle on maybe one of the sides here to grab it and carry it sideways like this, because in that case, oh, I don't know, it's probably 60-70 pounds. It's pretty intense, and it's very big, so it's pretty awkward. So I have no reason to keep the case, and a way to have a free Numark NS7. So I think the sound quality is superb. I think the response is amazing. Let me just... Oh, I don't have anything loaded over here. Let me just load some in. Such control. I can't believe it. I'm so happy right now. I still love my VCI 400 little 4-channel controller, but like I said, this allows me to get into almost like an old school headspace of mixing, where it's just a different style of mixing. So it's been very exciting for me to get this piece, and I thought I'd make a video to share that. If you're in the market for a controller, or even another controller, you know, you already have one or two, but you're looking for something pretty unique, you know, this might be it for you. It's cheap, it's rugged, it's built well, it's unique, And I'm thinking if I start to drag this around to the occasional gig, like I want to do the local roller skating rink soon, I think, if I take something like this instead of something with platters that don't move, this is just going to wow people. It's really got that wow factor. And that's not the be-all and end-all for a DJ, but there certainly is an aesthetic element to DJing, and I think this really captures it. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope that was interesting to you, and congratulations me for getting an awesome new controller. Thanks for watching. See you next time.